Well, welcome, Autumn, to Mending Families. I'm excited to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. Hey, before we jump into everything we're going to talk about, can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so I am Autumn McKay. I am a wife. My husband and I have been married. It'll be 14 years soon. And we have three biological children, ages 10, 8, and 6.
Okay.
And I'm a former teacher turned stay-at-home mom turned author.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so many other hats that you wear in there
Yes,
too,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I can we talk about you being a teacher here really quick?
Yeah,
Start
sure.
out with okay. Um, what grades did you teach?
Oh, so I taught like every grade level. So I was a reading specialist teacher, a math intervention teacher for K through fifth grade.
Okay.
I taught middle school specials when I was an online teacher, and then I did high school like guidance counseling to help them for post high school.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you really have done every grade. What is your favorite age that you taught?
Third grade was probably my favorite.
Okay,
Yeah.
why?
I just like that grade. They're like very curious still. They're still kind and sweet and not
Yeah.
full of themselves.
Funny.
And I like the what they're learning at that age, like
Yeah.
the curriculum at that age.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like third grade for all of my kids that have gone through third grade so far, I just have one left that hasn't, but third grade has been the hardest.
It is a big stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Third and fourth. We're kind of
Yes.
like with all my kids so far.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So how long have you been out of teaching? I should say in the
Uh,
school system.
right. So my oldest is 10, so 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do your kids go to school? Do you homeschool them? What does that look like?
So they go to a hybrid school. So they
Okay.
go 2 days a week, and then I homeschool 3 days a week. But
Okay.
like the teachers, give us the path of what
Yeah.
lessons to do and stuff.
Yeah.
So it
We
makes
have
it a
a
little easier.
we have a similar program here where I
Okay.
live, and during those third and fourth grade hard years, we definitely utilize that,
Yes.
which is so nice that we can pivot when we need to, right?
Yes.
Another thing that I think we can talk about this is you are a foster parent
Yep.
or you're a
Yep.
foster home, I should say, is not just
Yes.
you.
Yes.
So how long have you been fostering?
So a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. October will be 2 years.
Okay. How
Yeah.
did you get into that?
So my husband and I, we always knew that we wanted to like help a child in need, and
Okay.
we thought like before we were married, we talked about it. We thought that would be through adoption,
Hmm.
and so like once our family, we were done biologically, and we were set up like good foundation for our marriage. Our kids were doing well, and we were in a good financial spot. We started to look into adoption,
Okay.
and we just there were about like 20 to 25 families waiting for basically a baby to adopt. And
Hmm. Yeah.
most of those families have struggled with infertility.
Mm.
And so we just felt like we would pretty much be stealing a baby
Mm.
from a family that couldn't have children.
Hmm.
So we thought that was not the best avenue for us. We just felt like God was like leading us in a different path.
Hmm.
And so we started to like look at what else was out there. And my cousin and a couple families at church that we know had fostered. So
Okay.
we asked them like how they got into it, what all the ins and outs were, and then we did like a informational meeting with DFACS and a couple other private agencies just to like test the waters,
Yeah.
um, and we felt like we were being called to foster after all of those things. We originally thought that we were going to like foster to adopt.
Okay.
However, our first placement, we had a 3 and a 5-year-old little boy,
Okay.
both boys. And we just saw like how much they long to be with their
Yeah.
biological parents.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like changed our hearts through that
Yeah.
process. And so if we can, we root for the biological family.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's how.
Yeah. You had said in the information I had sent over, you had said that you didn't think you'd be able to cheer for bio families, but have found that
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah. So it's hard because like you like when we were starting the process, I was just like, I'm gonna get these kids in my home and like just like feel for them and not want to like give them back because
Mhm.
of what they came from. But having the two little boys, we just like realized no matter how hard it was, like they have that connection with their biological parent
Yeah.
and they just long to be with them. So if the biological parent can make the changes and like correct what the mistakes that they made, then we cheer for them. And if not, like for the boys, they had grandparents that came up and
Mhm.
stepped up. And so we were able to cheer for the grandparents and
Yeah.
help them. And we still get to see them and check in with them and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
good.
You talk about trauma informed, being trauma aware, and you talk about care and purpose and the connected child.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like, when did that knowledge come? Like, at what point were you like, who is this Karen Purvis? And, where did she come into all of this?
So we had gotten our first placement, and I the 5-year-old was just having these like extreme meltdowns. And so I contacted my cousin. I was like, what is going on? She's
Hmm.
like, you need to watch Karen Purpose,
Hmm.
watch her YouTube videos. And I was like, oh, okay. This makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. And then I read The Connected Child, and that helped a lot as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there like a particular video or topic that you found the most helpful?
I think just like making the connection, like making the intentional time to connect with the child,
Yeah.
even like biological children, like so many of
Yeah.
those applications you can apply to your biological children too, like spending the 20-minute date time.
Yeah.
um, I started implementing that, and
Okay.
there's just a big difference I can see
Yeah.
in the behaviors and just being able to have that time one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like they open up so much more. And um, yeah,
You're
so
building
that's
trust with them. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like through learning more about Karen, you also, and the connected child, you also have implemented strategies in your home for all of your children.
Yes, yes.
That's super
So
cool.
yeah, I really liked the date time.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was very helpful, especially when there are new kids in our home. We kind of get bogged down with like them and
Yeah.
forget our our biological children. So it was really good for um, me and our biological children, but also building the trust and relationship with the foster children as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a baby right now,
We do.
adjusting to sleepless nights.
Yes. It's been 6 years since I've done that. I was like, whoa, that took
Yeah,
me.
it's quite the adjustment, right? Like
Yes.
you get so far away from it that you kind of get that amnesia of like, it's not that bad, right? And then, yeah, shock to the system.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, how's that going?
It's good. She's a better sleeper than I thought. She only wakes up twice a night, pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
So, but she's precious, and all the kids like fight over who gets to hold her and feed
Yeah.
her. It's a lot different than when I had like 3 under 4, when
Yeah.
they were all like teeny tiny, and but now I have a bunch of helpers, and they
Yeah.
they love to help. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
My daughter calls her our living baby doll.
Right. Totally for that age, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. So as a teacher, I'm curious that if you learned things through now through fostering or even through watching Karen Purvis's videos, are there things that you're like, gosh, this would have been good for me to know as a teacher?
Yeah, so I think the connection would definitely have helped because I can think back to there was one instant I had with a first grader in one of my classrooms where he had like an extreme meltdown, and I was how old was I? I was like 23,
Mhm.
so I didn't have any of my own kids
Yeah.
at that time. I'd only been in the classroom like a year or two, and so the only thing I knew to do was like call administration.
Yeah.
But I think if I had known about Karen Purvis, I would have like tried to make that connection
Yeah.
and build that trust so that he wouldn't have felt so like intimidated or just like threatened.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an encouragement to current teachers, right?
Yes.
Take the time to connect. Yeah, it's so important. So
Yes.
important. What are some other things that you feel like you have learned through whether teaching or foster care or being a mom? Like, what are some other things that you just have found yourself growing as a person?
So gratitude has
Mm,
been a big thing for me throughout motherhood. Um, and we're trying to instill it in our children as well. So gratitude has really helped me like when I feel overwhelmed
mhm.
or feel like I'm getting burned out. I um, i have a morning routine of um, journaling through things I'm grateful for, and it just
Oh,
helps me to like start my day on a positive note instead
yeah,
of like feeling overwhelmed immediately with a to-do list.
yeah.
And I'm able to like go back and see like my journey and see like the different moments of gratitude and things like
Mhm.
that. And it just really helps like center me for the day. Um, and then so we try to instill that in our kids. And so we each night at dinner, we all go around and say something that we're grateful for that day.
Mhm.
And sometimes the kids say silly things,
Yeah.
and then sometimes they're like really profound. And
And you're like,
it's
wow.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. It makes me think of, I can't remember which book it was. I honestly, I think it's Jen Hatmaker, but I can't remember. But there was a book that maybe it was like 10 years ago that was all about that, like the gratitude journal and just looking for those glimmers throughout the day to, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yes.
I can't think of what it's called. I will figure it out and I'll link it in the show notes because that's really good. That was something I did for a while and fell away from. So this is a good reminder for me that, yeah, we need to keep those things at the forefront and remember that stuff because life can get hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so let's talk about your books. Like,
Okay.
let's talk about you being an author. How did that happen?
So it was my husband. He is very encouraging and a great supporter. So let's see, probably 8 years ago. Yeah, my oldest was he was like 18 months.
Okay.
Um, so when I decided to stay at home with him, I kind of got bored with like just playing with the same toys, doing the
Mm-hmm.
same puzzles kind of thing. I was like, well, I was a teacher. Let's make this time together intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And so I created like this whole curriculum map
Mm-hmm.
of what activities we were going to do each day. And I put it on the fridge. At that time, we were just like learning colors.
Sure.
And then, so my husband, he had listened to some podcasts about passive income. And
Okay.
he's like, these teachers, they made more than they make as teachers, like selling this curriculum.
Yeah.
You should write a book about what you're teaching our son. I was like, no,
Yeah.
nobody is going to buy a book from me. Like,
Right. That's a pipe dream. That's just what you hear on the podcast. That's not real.
exactly. That's exactly what I told him. But he was just kept encouraging me, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And so I wrote the first book, and it started selling, and
Was it on
so it,
Amazon? Is that how you sold it?
mhm,
Okay.
yep, yeah.
Okay.
And then so he like researched how to be an independent publisher
Uh-huh.
or publish independently, and then so with each activities that I've done with my kids, like those have turned into books. So we've
Okay.
done colors, learning ABCs, and then I have two books that are just like a bunch of themes, like
Okay.
space and butterflies and construction trucks and weather and things like that. And then I have one that is preparing your child for kindergarten. And then I have three that are teaching your children to read through like hands-on activities.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
Wow. Look at
yeah,
you.
thanks.
Yeah. So where can people find these books then? On all on Amazon, or is there?
Yeah, so all of the physical books are on Amazon
Okay.
or like Walmart or Target or Barnes and
Oh,
Noble.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
exciting.
And then I have digital books, which is just like a PDF on my website.
Okay. Yeah. So I did go to your website. It kind of it's like for so I remember back in the day when I stayed home for a minute and I found all of these like mommy blogs. And so it reminds me of that, of like
Yes.
these mommy blogs that would like, I would read and I'd get encouragement and maybe recipes, maybe, things to think about. So do you do that as well? Like kind of adding those little blog posts on there?
Yes.
Okay.
So my website is pretty much like what I have learned throughout my motherhood journey,
Yeah.
like discipline, potty training, um, like recently my how to like nurture a mother and son relationship.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So people can go there too and just
Mhm.
get some encouragement and um bestmomidea.com.
I, yeah, ideas.
Ideas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
It's
there's more than
okay.
one. You have more than one idea. So yeah. So what else do you have besides the books and your website? Is there other things that parents, because although it probably was initially for moms, I
Mhm.
did read that this is really for any caregiver.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So is there anything else? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yeah.
So I have a weekly newsletter, and so that I currently just have that, um, and I just share like tidbits or
Yeah.
like free activities and things like that.
Hmm. Do you have any books in the work?
I have a few ideas,
Okay.
nothing permanent right now.
Okay.
I'm We're just trying to adjust with a new baby right now.
Yeah. You're like, wait, listen, I am up 2 times a night. My brain is not firing on all. I might have a good idea, and
Yeah.
then tomorrow I may not remember what that
Yes.
idea was.
Most of my ideas come like right before bedtime, and I'm just like, okay, I'll remember that in the morning. But
And
yeah,
then
it
no,
never
it's
happens.
gone. Yeah. Would you ever like write a book that incorporates some of the things you're learning about connection and trauma and um
So I actually have wanted to write like a real book,
yeah.
is what we call it, for moms and parents and caregivers, basically of like the lessons I've learned
Hmm.
um, throughout motherhood and like lies I thought I believed,
Hmm.
but like the real truths to them and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually I'll get to that.
Yeah. Those things can be so inspiring. What is like one of the lies you believed about yourself?
That I couldn't ask for help,
Oh,
or like if I did, I was failing as a mom.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's not true at all. Like
No.
you have a village and they want to help, and you call on them when you need help because they're there for that.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from that we have that belief that asking for help is a weakness?
I'm not sure. Like I think part of it might be like social media, just
Yeah.
because like you see all the perfect posts and everything.
Mhm.
So like if your life isn't perfect
Mhm.
and together, then you're not as good as other moms.
Mhm.
Um, that might be part of it, but I'm not sure. Like, there's got to be something else as well.
Yeah,
That
it's so common.
yeah.
Yeah, and how do we change that? How do we get people to learn, like, no, it's actually better to ask for help and rely on your people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not.
that'd be a good book to kind of go because I think that's it right there, right? Is like a lot of people have those same beliefs about themselves or they believe those lies about themselves and you say it out loud and it's like, yeah, that is very real. A lot of us feel that way. And so to have a resource, it's like, but actually, you know, yeah, that's
And
cool.
it's so weird because like if somebody asks us for help, like
Hmm.
we're like, yes, how can we help?
I know.
But
Yeah,
like we feel like we can't
we
ask
can't.
for help ourselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
What's been your favorite book so far that you have worked on?
I really liked the reading ones. I was really intimidated by doing those,
Hmm.
just because I knew how much work would go into them.
Hmm.
But I really enjoyed like putting them together just because my goal with that was like I know teaching your child to read is very intimidating for a lot of parents, even teachers, like even
Hmm.
myself. Like going through college, I was never taught like, how to teach children to read in any of my classes.
Yeah,
So when my own children started to want to learn to read, I had to like learn it
figure it
myself.
out. Yeah.
Um, so uh, that was really intimidating because I wanted to be able to um, like provide confidence for the parents or caregivers or teachers that were going to buy the books and
Yeah.
like actually like teach them the process so that they felt confident um and so after after writing it I felt really good about like that parents would be able to know the specific process
Hmm.
and, and feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, and it's had some, good people like them. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
also helps, right? It's kind of that
Yes.
like ego boost to be like, okay, yay, I feel really good about it. And people like
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and I heard you say too, like it's not just for parents. And I'm assuming like all of your books are not just for parents
Correct.
or caregivers, but also teachers, preschool teachers, grandparents, anyone who
Hmm.
has kids in their lives. Um, and I think also your books could be a good way for us to connect with our kids. Like
Yes.
we talked about at the beginning about that time, that one-on-one time we spend with our kids. And these are an activity that we could do where we can delight in our kids and connect with them and have that 10-20 minutes of one-on-one time with
Right.
them that can just help more than just teaching them to read, but also building them up and helping them feel seen and heard and trust us, right? So
Hmm.
you
And
just
most of them are like low prep activities. So it only
ah,
takes like 1 or 2 minutes to prepare them. So it's not like this huge ordeal.
yeah,
So
what we need.
yeah, exactly.
That's great. Okay, well, we're coming up to the end of our time, but I have two more questions that I always ask. So the first one is, what do you wish more people thought about when it comes to parenting?
So I wish that more parents thought about like giving yourself grace. Like you give your
Mm.
kids grace for when they mess up, but do you really give yourself grace when you mess up, or are you down on yourself and feel guilty for the times that you mess up?
Yeah,
So yeah, just give yourself some grace.
that's so important. I think you're right. Like we are our hardest critic, and
Hmm.
we are the hardest on ourselves when we mess up and but repair goes a long way. Giving ourselves grace goes a long way. Having patience with ourselves. Like we're all humans, we're growing and no one's perfect and we shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, what about resources? What would three resources be that you would recommend to parents, whether it's foster parents or parents with biological children, like just across the board?
So you can grab my free resource.
Okay.
So it's the Ultimate Mom Saver Activity Bundle.
Okay.
And it's 6 free activities from one of my books, and then 6 free coloring pages from one of my husband's little engineer coloring books.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is that on your website?
Yeah. And then I'll give it to you to put in your
Okay.
show notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so many of Karen Purvis's
Mm-hmm.
videos on YouTube, those are a good resource.
Mm-hmm.
And there was what, I'm reading, what is it? Raising Mentally Strong Kids
Okay.
by Dr. Daniel Amen right
Okay.
now. And
Yep.
it's been really, really good. It's about how like to build resiliency with kids and like how to basically raise them to be successful adults.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that one.
Good. Okay. I will link all of that in the show notes. And yeah, if you want to send me the info on your free resource, I love
All right.
that. So yeah, thank you so much for your time
Yeah.
and just that you are so busy, but yet you are still continuing to provide resources to all of us parents. We appreciate that because I think just like we've talked about, it takes a village. Like we can't do this on our own. And so every little every little cheerleader for all of us, right?
Yes.
We cheer each other on. So thank you for all that you're
Yeah.
doing. And I look forward to more from you.
Yeah.
Maybe something
Yeah.
about connection, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much and
Yep.
have a super great day.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.